So I was thinking about it. Imagination and reality. So on the one end, you've got imagination, what we think in our minds, the ideas that we come up with, just our inner creativity. And on the other side, you've got reality, the world that we're living in, the set of actions, that we follow, the concrete, tangible things. And I don't think that they're opposites necessarily. I think that they are two parts of a continuum. And I say that because so much of our reality stems from what was someone's imagination first. For example, this computer that I'm recording on, the electricity, the architecture in this room right now, the drawing that my friend made, the plant, it was all things that someone came up with first in their mind and then created it and it was manifested and now it's part of my reality in this room right now. In addition to the Wi-Fi connection that I'm using, what if there was a way to communicate, Wi-Fi, the internet, electricity? But it all started out as just imagination first. So I think that reality is a lot of imagination that's just been manifested into like a physical form or into a like a tangible form, whether it's via airwaves or the radio or whatever. I don't really know how it all works. But I will say that the thing about that is, for envisioning a better world, we can use our imagination. We can see the world as it is now with, man, society and the environment and politics and human rights. Oh my gosh, man, the list just goes on, and there's a lot of bleakness, there really, really is. But I think that we can have hope and that we can use our imagination to see what would be possible, not just the darkness that prevails now, you know, but what could our lives look like? What could even people that we don't necessarily think of, throughout our everyday life, you know, refugees, people that I don't know, people that live in third world countries, um, imagining a reality where things are good for all of us, not just the wealthier places like the United States. Man, that is just like even thinking about that right now. Just to be honest, it's just like amazing, and it would just be incredible. But you got to hold it first. You got to have that belief that it is possible first. Otherwise, you just get more of what you got. So I think that imagination is like the seed that will grow with I don't know with work, with effort, with passion, with just persevering and striving, and enough people get it, and it just can become something real. You know, whether it's from music or art or buildings or just like whatever, just like social change. Hybrid cars. Like I mean, it's crazy, but it's totally possible, and I think that it is worth having hope, and using our imagination to believe that things will change and get better, and what things could be possible to get there. You know, I absolutely think that that's one of the most valuable things we can do, and you know, just think of it as a continuum. Just starting point here is imagination. With hard work, effort, spreading the idea, it can manifest as something real, intangible. So, those are my quick thoughts. Hope you have a wonderful day. Peace out.
I've noticed lately that things have happened before that are worse than what's going on right now, though maybe not in my lifetime. And even though it's super sucky right now, there's possibility for massive change. Like workers who need to telecommute are starting to be able to get those accommodations that they've needed for so long. Distance and online colleges are so much lower cost, but they're also starting to be able to get recognition. Maybe these students who have been needing distance learning and workers who have needed distance work and online commuting for so long are going to finally be able to get these accommodations. The world is also starting to wake up to injustices that have been the elephant in the room for too long. One of the things I use to battle my anxiety is that when it starts going off on all the bad possibilities, I have to try and shift its energy to focusing on all the possibilities that could be wonderful or even partially good too. Anxiety gives me a great superpower on thinking of the what if situations. So if I can redirect it to what if this turned out really good, a lot of times it brings me a lot more hope than I would have thought. I can use it for just going to the grocery store and thinking about all the different things that could go wrong with a trip to the grocery store right now. Like, normal times, even, I could get in an accident on the way there. I could get there and get coronavirus from touching the grocery cart. Or I could go there and somebody could make me super uncomfortable by standing just a little bit too close, that's not quite 6 feet there in the line to check out. And I can get really bottled up in all of this. But I can also start thinking about what all the possibilities are that are good and great that could come out of this, or even just partially good. I could drive there with no incidents, and I might be listening to my favorite song, or I could just be able to enjoy a few moments of absolutely wonderful silence that I haven't really gotten that much since I've been holed up in my apartment with my husband and kid. I could get there and find a perfectly sterilized cart just waiting for me to use. I could go inside and find that my favorite treat is on sale, or I got to see somebody who just doing their own grocery shopping that I know and I haven't seen for a while, and I might be able to catch up with somebody face to face. Maybe 6 feet apart, but still face to face. I could end up in all of these awesome possibilities, but I could also start looking into the future of what if we end up in a world with affordable education for all because we've been able to test out distance education during this pandemic? What if we're able to focus on the good? Like, what if in the future we end up where people who have disabilities can get their accommodations taken care of, like telecommuting, without being laughed out of the office because it's normal now? What if we have these awesome possibilities for the future where people who are rising up against injustice are actually listened to? Where people who are hurting but end up saying something are listened to? And my anxiety superpower can keep me in the negatives, or I can refocus it and look at these positives that could be coming our way. And I have to make sure that I stay focused and I don't attach myself to these possibilities, because that's all they are, possibilities. But if I can give myself the hope that these possibilities still exist, then I can help change my outlook for today, and I can get myself to a better place for now. And if I'm in a better place for now, then I have a better outlook on the future. And if I have a better outlook for the future, then I'm probably going to do more to try and achieve that today.
It seems now more than ever, people are more aware of societal issues. People I know that normally turn a blind eye to political, social, environmental, economic issues they're talking about them. They are in no way experts on the issues, but they're starting to engage by reading what experts have to say. It appears focus has shifted. What matters has shifted. More and more, I hear people saying we as in all of us. Not just our small social bubbles or influence, but humankind. Awareness is growing and intensifying, waking us up to what is most precious. Life. The tide is turning. Our connections are so important right now. We are stronger together. Many of us are quarantining. Despite that, we are still connecting with others and even making new connections or reconnecting. In our solitude, we have found ways to keep in touch with our technology. We're listening to each other's stories and then sharing them. It's powerful. We are powerful. And speaking of connections, the way this church has stayed united is amazing. When my mom passed away, I didn't feel alone. I desperately wanted to be held, and that came in the form of cards, emails, phone calls, Zoom calls, and even baked goods delivered right to the door. That brought me so much hope. I love you all. And you bring me so much hope.
Can I tell you something? The world is kind of a crazy place right now. Seems like there's an endless barrage of bad news. How can this be happening? You know, it's easy to fall victim to the negativity. It's easy to lose sight of the fact that there are reasons to have hope. Sometimes it's the simple things, nature, taking a walk, feeling the breeze, seeing the trees, hearing the birds. There's something reassuring and hopeful about seeing the continuance of life in the natural areas. People give me hope. People facing adversity, doctors, nurses in the ICUs, taking care of desperately ill people. Some of them tape pictures to the front of their protective equipment so that a patient can see that there's a real human being behind that mask and goggles and stuff. Parents and teachers facing the uncertainty of getting their kids back to school, virtual school, home school, school in person. Yeah, that's not easy, but they're not giving up. They're getting it done. The Black Lives Matter protest movement brings me hope. People peacefully marching in the streets, bringing attention to police brutality and racial injustice. You know, 2 or 3 years ago, an NFL quarterback, Colin Kaepernick, took a knee during the national anthem he was just making a statement at protesting police brutality. Well, the man was reviled. I mean, it was like, how dare he kneel during the national anthem? That's treason. He must be a traitor. Now look how far we've come. Entire sports teams are kneeling, postponing games, canceling games. The NBA canceling, postponing games. Major League Baseball canceled a game. WNBA, I think, postponed or canceled their season. I think the message is they want you to stop watching them and take a little time to reflect on things that are a little more important. That there are more important things than sports. And I think people are slowly getting it. It's not okay to just say, well, I'm not a racist. You somehow got to go to the next step. You got to become anti-racist. And there's hope, and I think people are getting it. You know, there's an election coming up, and there's a reason for hope. You know, it's time for a change. The divisiveness, the corruption, it's got to end. I know efforts will be made to suppress the vote. Some will question the process. It's not going to work. The tide is turning. You know, the people that perhaps give me the most hope of all, it's you guys. It's the people of Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things, reaching out to the community, distributing food to the less fortunate, you know, taking care of each other. Yeah. And as I am often reminded, I am not alone. Therefore, I have hope.